Hello there everybody. Today I'm doing a tag video. I was tagged by Marlon from Marlon Alina. This is the intimidating TBR pile tag that was originally created by Lindsay Ray. All about the books that you want to be reading but somehow you haven't gotten to them yet. This was actually the first time I've been tagged for a video, so I was kind of excited, and that's how you know I'm still a booktube newbie. I'll get started with the first question, which is a book that you have been unable to finish. For this one, I picked The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. For this one, I picked The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson. I've owned this book for like 3 years and I'm still really excited by this story in this series, and it's something that I want to read, but somehow the years have continued to go on and I have not read it. I think the problem with it for me is how thin the pages are. It always makes me feel like it's going to take me 10 years to read it. I did watch the movie and I really enjoyed it, and that made me buy the book. I think the themes are things that I look for in books, so I think that I would actually really enjoy this book. I just have been unable to finish it. Now that I've seen it once more, I haven't really paid attention to it in a while. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm going to try to read it relatively soon. The second question is a book that you haven't read just because you haven't had the time, and for this one I picked Dragonfly and Amber by Diana Gabaldon. I read the first Outlander book in October and it took me literally a month to finish it. It was 850 pages, so I know that I really have to set time aside and say no to other books and really focus on this book, because this one is over 1,000 pages. 850 wasn't enough. I really still enjoy the story. I enjoy the characters and the time travel and the time period that they're in, but it is kind of intimidating when you have 1,000 pages to read. I am going to be reading this one before I watch season 2 of the show on Stars, so it will happen. The third question was a book you haven't read because it's a sequel, and if I'm going to be completely honest, this one was the hardest question, and it's probably because I don't read many series. I really enjoy one-offs. I enjoy standalone books. The fourth question is a book you haven't read because it's a brand new book. For this one, I picked Girls and Sex, and this is by Peggy Orenstein. I first heard about this in 2 podcasts that I listened to. I heard about it on Fresh Air, and I also heard about it on the XX Gab Fest. It literally just got released like April, so I'm just waiting for it to come to the library. This book is a nonfiction book where Peggy Orenstein talked to experts in the field of teenage girls, as well as teenage girls themselves that she interviewed during a long period of time. So asking them about the kinds of issues that girls are facing today when it comes to sex. I'm always interested in the way culture and sex mix. I do think that this book would be worthwhile just because she does interview many girls about what they think about sex today. The next question is a book you haven't read because you read a book by the same author and didn't enjoy it. So I was kind of unsure where to go with this, so I chose one author that I would probably read another book, even though I still so enjoyed the first book that I read by that author, and then I also included an author that I'm definitely not going to read the next book because I didn't enjoy it. So the first one is Alison Bechdel. I read Fun Home, which is a literary graphic memoir of her life and especially focuses on her father. Didn't really enjoy it as much as I thought I would have, and I didn't understand the majority of the references that you see in the book, but she is such a celebrated author and well known, so I feel like I should give her another shot just because a lot of people do like her, and maybe I was just not in the right mood for it. The second author is Jojo Moyes, and I read Me Before You a couple months ago and I gave it 3 stars flat, but it really feels more like 2.5 sometimes when I think about it. It was a book that didn't really deliver in the way that it delivered for so many other people and the hype that was surrounding this book, so I definitely won't be reading After You. I haven't heard very good things even from people who enjoyed Me Before You, so After You is not gonna happen for me. The sixth question is a book you haven't read because you haven't been in the mood for it, and for this one I picked Burial Rites by Hannah Kent. It is one that I am supposedly currently reading right right now, but I gave it back to the library and I downloaded it on ebook, but I've been really neglecting that book. It's a book that you kind of want to read in tiny little chunks. It has a lot of emotion to it and it's very kind of depressing. I mean, it is a beautiful book. It is a very atmospheric book, but I don't think I'm that much in the mood for something as literary and subtle right now. So I'm just gonna put it aside for a little bit and then I'm gonna come back to it. The next question is a book you haven't read because it's humongous. And for this one, I automatically knew what my answer was, and that was What It Takes by Richard Ben Cramer. I bought this at a library book sale a few months back and I was so freaking excited about it. If you saw the video when I did my haul from it, you could tell from my face how excited I was about it, because I have been searching for this book and I did tell myself I was going to read it before the election in November, but it just hasn't happened yet, and I think it's because it's humongous. This book is over 1,000 pages long, and unlike Diana Gabaldon's book, this is nonfiction, so it's a little bit more, you feel a little bit more trepidation when it comes to nonfiction, and an 1,000-page nonfiction is just something that I haven't done it yet, but it's something that I really want to do. I've heard so many great things about this book and I do want to get back into nonfiction reading and political nonfiction reading. Number 8 is a book you haven't read because it was a cover buy and it turned out to have bad reviews. This one, I picked a book that's been on my shelves for a really long time and I haven't let it go because the cover did intrigue me, and that's literally the reason that I bought it as a teenager, and I keep telling myself maybe it'll be a fun light read. My Mother is a French Fry and Further Proof of My Fuzzed-Up Life. And it's a really cute cover, like there's just a French fry and a really interesting title. And this really captured my eye when I was like 15 or 16. So I bought it, but I have never read it. It has like 3.5 on Goodreads, and people have just said that the main character is kind of bratty. If I want a light read, this is something that I should be picking up. If not, I'll probably give it away soon. And number 9 is the most intimidating book in your TBR, and that we'll go back to What It Takes. And it's not just because it's humongous, it's not just because it's nonfiction. I just feel rusty when it comes to reading about political stuff and history stuff in general. I've been out of school for a year now and I've just been reading a lot of fiction lately. I should be informing my brain of information about things that happen in real life and inform our time period. The majority of books that I read in 2015 were nonfiction and political and history related, so not the same story for 2016, and it probably has to do with the influence BookTube has in what I pick up. And then number 10 is for you to tag other people to do this, and I'm going to tag 2 people who I don't think have done this video. I have looked at their channels and they haven't, so unless I completely like missed it, I'm going to be tagging Camille from The Chameleon, and I'll be also tagging Haley from Haley Reads. I hope you enjoyed listening to some of the books that have been kind of intimidating me. I will see you in my next video. Bye bye!